Okay, so I'm Misty, and this is my presentation on cognitive behavioral therapy and overeating, or as some people call it, it's binge eating disorder is what it's also called. So first off, what is CBT? CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, and it helps people with various issues by helping them understand that their thoughts influence their behavior, or how their thoughts are influencing their behavior. And there are 3 phases in this therapy. The first phase is the behavioral phase. That is when the rapport is built. That is when the client starts to recognize their negative or unhealthy behaviors. In this case, it would be the overeating or the eating when not hungry or whatever. A plan is made to minimize the behavior, and then education is also introduced. So in this context, they would talk about maybe triggers on why they're eating and educate them on healthy foods and how not to overeat and such. There's also a cognitive phase, and that is when the client starts to identify their negative thought patterns. Then they are encouraged to change their perspective and how they think about things. They might start to realize that when they think about a certain thing or are feeling in a certain mood, then they eat more, and they are encouraged to look at their feelings in another way and find another healthy outlet for that instead of the undesired behavior that they were doing. Like maybe they won't be guilty about eating certain things, or they won't feel guilty that would cause them to eat more than they should or they normally would if they weren't feeling guilty. The third phase is the maintenance and relapse prevention. It is when the clients have the confidence that they got from being encouraged and learning things in the other phases. It is also when their symptoms will start to improve, and when um, people start to look at the client as a whole. Not that you shouldn't, but a lot of people start to look at their environment more if they're in an inpatient treatment, or start to think of other factors that are going to affect the client. So there are other treatments besides cognitive behavioral therapy. There are inpatient facilities, but according to my research, there's a little evidence that shows that it's actually improves their outcomes if they're in an inpatient or not. There's also medication. They use Prozac and Vyvanse. Those are the only 2 that are FDA approved to treat binge eating disorder. And then they also use OCD medication or depression medication to help combat the feelings or drives that may cause them to eat. One category labeled this as self-help, and it was Overeaters Anonymous, or like self-esteem boosters, like tips online, like feel confident the way you are, wear comfortable clothes. And then there's other therapies, but CBT is the gold standard. Comparisons between CBT and other options. One of my research articles said that the comparison of specific treatments indicated that people binged less when they did CBT versus when they did behavioral weight loss. That was following them up at 6 months. Another research article said that there was improvements in weight-related quality of life after CBT, and it was associated with a variety of symptoms, so maybe not necessarily the CBT itself, but the way that they were feeling about their symptoms. And there was also a change of coping skills that could have been because of the CBT. So in summary, CBT isn't weight loss, so it's not going to cure everything, but it is healthy. It is teaching someone healthy coping and teaching them other ways to manage their anxiety and whatnot besides eating. I think support systems are good as well. Probably not instead of CBT, but in addition to. And if it'll go, there are my sources. Hope you have learned something.